that you can do is just take deep breaths. I'm sure Chelsea's going to touch on this. 4 breaths in, 4 breaths out. Do this a lot, because when you are deep breathing, your body is not making cortisol. It's one or the other. You need to make sure that you're taking deep breaths. You can do it anywhere, in your car, at home. That's important. The other thing about diet, we already talked about, you have so much glucose in your system. Now's not the time to be eating processed foods and carbs and everything. Now's the time to be focusing on proteins, vegetables, and fats, because you have enough carbohydrate, or you have enough sugar in your system right now when you're stressed. Eat small meals frequently, because when your blood sugar is balanced, you're going to have more energy and you're going to feel better. And then finally, nutrients. In times of stress, your body uses 10 times more nutrients than normal. So you need to be getting the B complex. You need to be getting vitamin C. You need to be taking D3, zinc, magnesium. All these things are essential to help you during times of stress, because you need it more. And then finally, exercise. When you exercise, actually research shows that exercise is a better antidepressant than an antidepressant medication. So exercise is huge. And you know what? I promise you this. If you just get up in the morning, drink your coffee, go walk, come back 10 minutes, I promise when you walk in that house, everyone in your house is going to look better to you. And actually, you're probably going to look better to everyone in your house, because your whole mind is going to change. So exercise, you're going to be making endorphins. That's important. So really, just in conclusion, we can't manage our stress. Really, like, we don't have control over the stress. But if we make our body more resilient to the stress by sleeping, eating right, exercising, taking deep breaths, and doing our nutrition, we can combat this to where we won't get sick and maybe lead us down the path to chronic illness.
Wow. So that was absolutely amazing. And oh, by the way, if anyone on here is completely and totally confused about all of the science that Dr. Roxanne just gave us, please reach out to her and ask her these questions. By the way, she wrote a book, and it's actually a children's book, but it's about Don't Feed the Sugar Monster. I think it's great for grown-ups. We should all read this book, right? And it's the way sugar really affects our bodies. And I think right now, during COVID-19, with all of us being at home, I'm guilty. It's so much easier to go grab something out of a package and shove it in your mouth in between meetings than it is to make yourself a real meal, right? Or a real snack, or eat something that actually grew in the ground, right? Instead of being prepackaged. So Roxanne, thank you so much. I really appreciate all of that information. If anybody would like to ask a question, please unmute yourself and have at it. I know somebody must have a question. Where did you get all that energy? That's what I want to know.
Because I balance my blood sugar all day long.
Yes.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Stacy.
You had talked about, you know, the proteins and the small meals and the veggies and stuff. Would you say it's more like a more keto right now, or more?
Yeah, and I'm careful about using the word keto, because keto means a lot of different things to different people. It's not so much cutting out all carbohydrates and sugar, because when you do that, you actually can crave more sugar, which can make you binge eat at this time. So this is the time where most of your meals should have protein, vegetables, and at the most, my breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I might only do a half a cup of brown rice or a sweet potato. I don't do a lot right now, because I know I'm a little bit stressed too.
Okay, thank you.
And my meals in between are protein and vegetables.
I have a question.
Go for it.
Are you taking new clients?
Yes. Yes, everyone needs it right now because they're at home. What are they doing? Nothing.
They have plenty of time, right?
Yes.
Use your tax return on health.
Yeah, that's right. On yourself.
Invest your
Yes.
tax return.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody else have a question? Go ahead, John.
I did have a question. Dr. Roxanne, what would you suggest somebody does maybe to manage their stress when they're in a constantly stressful work environment? You know, and most of us are business owners, I think, on the call. So a lot of us have a constant, you know, stress environment when you're especially when you're building. There's not much balance in the beginning. So I know that's where I am right now. I'm really trying to build. So what would you suggest I do maybe?
Right. So it's the exact same thing. It is the exact same thing, because you are under a lot of stress right now and nothing changes. Of course, we can't, like I said, we can't change the stress that we're dealing with, but we can make our bodies more resilient to the stress. And how you do that is make sure you're eating better, Make sure you're sleeping. If you're not sleeping, that's a really big one. That's a big one, right? So you need to sleep. And you know what? If you're not sleeping, then you also need to really be concentrating. This is not the time to skip taking your vitamins. You need it more than ever during a stressful time. So make sure, like 10 times more than normal. So make sure that you're not saying, well, I'll do my vitamins when I get out of the stress. That's crazy. You need it because that supports your adrenal glands and that supports all the organs that are going to be deficient because of the long-term stress.
Thank you very much.
Oh, one more question. You talk a lot about vitamins. There's a lot going around about vitamin C. If you take 1,000 milligrams, it's kind of helping with the coronavirus, stopping it. Is that true? Can you say on that?
So vitamin C, zinc, magnesium, B vitamins, all those are important. They just help your immune system. And I actually take 6 grams of vitamin C. I do 2,000 milligrams 3 times a day right now because it just does help with my immunity. It helps quench up free radicals, and it supports your adrenal glands. It's a huge adrenal gland supporter. So high amounts of vitamin C is important right now.
All right, we've got time for one more question.
Okay.
Go ahead, JC.
But all vitamins are not equal, right? Like we shouldn't get them at Walmart or.
Right. So that's exactly right. So the thing with that is a lot of Walmart, even GNC and some of the other places, they've actually done a study where they took the vitamin off the shelf and measured it and found out on the bottle it said 300 milligrams of vitamin C, but it had 300 milligrams all right, but only like a milligram of vitamin C. So it didn't have because it's not being watched. So that's huge. And also they found a lot of lead and other metals in the other vitamin shops and stuff because they don't have the expensive equipment to distract it. So the important thing is find a healthcare provider who has a pharmaceutical grade, because then you don't have to worry about the metals and you don't have to worry about the fakeness of the vitamin, because we get reports showing the efficacy of what's on the bottle has been shown through a analysis that it is in the bottle. That's a good question.
Awesome. Yeah, very good question. All right, guys, just for the sake of time and making sure that we get you out of here on time, I'd like to move on to the next speaker. If we've got time at the end, we can certainly circle back around for more questions for Dr. Roxanne. So our next speaker is Miss Chelsie Ward with Chelsie Ward Wellness, and she's going to talk to us about hidden stressors and maybe even give us a little exercise. Yes?
Yeah,
All
I'll
right,
do a little exercise.
Introduce yourself. Tell us a little about your business and which chapter you're from.
My name is Chelsie Ward. My business is Chelsie Ward Wellness, and I'm with a referral partner. So my life mission is really to give people freedom in their health, whether that's emotional, in their mindset, in their will, or in their physical body, because I want you out there making a bigger impact where you can. So today I'm going to go a little bit unconventional, and that's just me, if you know me at all. And I want to remind you of your power. So you are in charge of your health, just like you are your business and your finances. And we have the power to choose on a daily basis what we do to improve our health. And the really cool thing is that finances and health go hand in hand, meaning that when you're improving your health, you're going to in turn improve your finances. So I want you to understand today that you have authority over your health. And this is not only in your physical body, but it's also in your mind and your emotions too. And one of the simplest things that I like to teach for people to kind of free up their mind or to build their mind is to go through a practice called meditation. And it's not woo-woo, it's not crazy, it's not all the things that people think it is. So I want to just make you a little bit comfortable with it today. That way you may find a little bit of interest in practicing it. So many times we are looking for the answer outside of us. We're looking for advice. But I want to remind you that sometimes it's not really in the how. It's actually on a place that comes from within. So we're searching out experts, asking them, please tell me how to do this so I can improve in this area. But if you reflect, then it can actually come from within through revelation and reflection. So I asked a group yesterday on a call, and I'll ask you today. Meditation can take you through a place and get you to ask those deep questions like, who am I at my core? And who am I without all the noise? And if you don't know the answer to those questions, then I encourage you today to consider meditation and consider going within. So sometimes we forget that we are not human doings, we are human beings, meaning that we weren't created to really do, we were created to be. And we forget about that being and that presence and that stillness. And here's my experience. If you're meditating on your pain, whether that be physical or emotional or financial, and you're running to try to figure those things out all the time, you're creating and adding fuel to the very thing that you're trying to get rid of. Because what we see in our mind's eye first is going to manifest itself in our physical realm. So here's a couple more questions to ask yourself today. And that is, what are you looking to achieve? And what is your biggest barrier to success? So those may be the questions you ask yourself before entering into a meditation. And then I want you to sit quietly and go within to find those answers. And if you need guidance on meditation, there's actually some simple places. You can go to YouTube, you can look up anything there. They'll walk you through those techniques, but I'm going to walk you through a couple of my favorite things to help you gain a little bit of energy today. A lot of you on this call have heard me do box breathing techniques, so I'm actually going to skip that one today, and I'm going to give you something new. And I want to talk to you a little bit about meditation as well. So one of my favorite breath techniques actually came to me because I practice yoga, and it's called Ujjayi breathing, and it's for energy. So the word actually means to be victorious, and this builds heat from within the body. And it actually gives us energy. It increases our concentration. So the way that you do this is you're going to close the back of your throat, and you're going to breathe out as if you were attempting to fog up a glass. So if my hands were a glass and I'm closing my throat and I'm going to blow the air out, I'm closing the back like, because I'm trying to produce that heat, right? So that's the way you're going to do it. So and I'll show you a little bit about how it looks, but I want to tell you how to do this first. And that is, you're going to focus on rhythmic breathing. So you're going to steady the breathing. And when you're steadying this over time, like I said, it's going to improve your concentration, improve your focus. So this is kind of how it sounds. I'm going to do it through my nose. I don't know if you'll be able to hear me, but you're going to focus on breathing out your belly and then pulling your belly button to your spine. So we're so, just like Roxanne was talking about, we're so stressed. We're breathing from our chest constantly. So this is why I really want to get you focusing on your breath and breathing out your belly and then pulling it back to your belly button, because we should be breathing in our belly if we're in a relaxed state. So this is kind of how it sounds. Can y'all hear me? So just a little. Okay, you're gonna focus on that, tightening your throat in the back, and you're actually gonna breathe like this for about 10 minutes. So let me give you a little example. Yesterday, I'm like in my energy mode. I'm running, going, moving fast as I can. I get super stressed. I had a client call coming up and I was like, I don't even want to take this call. I'm so super stressed. But I just went outside literally for a 10-minute walk and I practiced this breathing, just breathing in very purposeful, breathing out very purposeful. And what it does is it helps you focus on your breath and it actually centers you. It enters you into that parasympathetic state that Dr. Roxanne was just talking about, where we feel like we're constantly running from a tiger. Well, if we enter into that parasympathetic state, we can actually go in, we can enter into that relaxed state. We can focus, our brain actually starts working again, right? Our blood sugar becomes balanced. We lose that shaky feeling and we start feeling a lot better. So I recommend that you start with like a couple minutes, because you can get lightheaded and short of breath if you do it for too long, but work your way up and do this for about 10 minutes at a time. So I know that I talked a little bit about meditation in the beginning, so I want to just introduce you to that concept just a little bit and tell you that the easiest way to enter into that is to start off with this deep breathing exercise. And then that's going to help you get into the present moment, get into your surroundings, and then you're just going to close your eyes and go within. So the way that you know you're kind of entering into that state is that your surroundings are going to start getting a little bit louder in your environment. right before you enter into that state, you're going to actually be tuning in so much to your surroundings that it's going to heighten around you. So even if you're indoors, you may hear a train passing by. You may hear birds chirping out your window. But that means you're getting present to what's going on in the environment instead of the stressors that you have going on in your life. Now, you may find emotions come up. You may find that, you know, all these thoughts start to pass, and that's okay. Just watch those just flow by. And you may even feel like there's this unwinding happening, like your body wants to move in certain ways. And if that happens, that's okay too. That's really actually kind of normal. You can go through an unwinding process. But this is really going to help you get unplugged. And why should we meditate? Well, there's a few different reasons. 1 is stress reduction, 2, mental clarity and focus, 3, increasing your emotional intelligence. And it really takes us into that subconscious place where the truest version of ourselves exists. And that's kind of what I was talking about when we first got on the call, is really entering into that place where we can truly become a part of who we are and who we were intended to be. So if you haven't done this before, get on YouTube, get some guided meditations. That's the best way to do it. If you have questions about it, feel free to reach out. I'm going to leave you with a quote by Danielle Laporte. And she says, knowing how you want to feel is the most potent form of clarity you can have. Generating those feelings is the most powerfully creative thing you can do with your life. And I will add, what is it that you want to create today?
I love that, Chelsie. Thank you so much. That was amazing. For those of you who don't know, Chelsie is also an author. Her book is called Healed His Way. It talks a lot about nutrition and also Chelsea's story. If you're interested in looking for that, I think you can find that on Amazon. So I have the first question. I have dibs. To do meditation, do I need like a special room and a special pillow and special lights and candles and all of that stuff?
You don't. It can be easier for people who are first starting out just because you're thinking about everything that's going on. But once you realize that it's simple to kind of focus within, focus on those surroundings, focus on that deep breathing. So like yesterday, I went outside and I did a meditative walk. So you don't have to be sitting like a Buddha monk or whatever. You can actually be walking and moving. People do meditation while they're working out. They're focusing and concentrating deeply on muscle tissues. So it's really just that focused concentration on something that's not going to take your mind onto something like a topic or work or a stressor or something like that. So the best way to do it is just really start focusing on that breath work. And once you get the breath work down, like that's where your focus is going to be. You're literally going to enter into this just place of rest into that breath. Like you are going to become your breath. And I know that might sound kind of odd, but it really is a place where true relaxation can come from.
Well, something you said yesterday really resonated with me, and it is, who am I without all the noise? And that really convinced me to look inside, right? And just take a few minutes to myself and relax. You know, who am I without all of this noise? Because I'm busier now than I was before. I may be creating that, but I am. All right, so open it up for questions. Anybody want to ask Chelsie a question? Please come off of mute and ask away. I know you guys have some question about her woo-woo.
Hey, Chelsie, you talked about there being some meditations on YouTube. Would you be able to, on this call, but would you be able to maybe drop some suggestions in the chat?
Yeah, I can do that. I'll do that while Philip's talking.
Awesome.
Not a problem.
Awesome. You know, I'm not one for that meditation, but I'm willing to give it a shot, especially if that's coming from you. So I'll definitely be willing to give it a shot.
Cool.
Any other questions? Listen, if you guys have not done a one-to-one with Chelsie, please schedule one so that you can dig deeper into what it is that she does with her business. She is also well-versed in nutrition and some of this meditation stuff that some of you may be afraid of. It doesn't have to be crazy, right? If you haven't she didn't talk about box breathing today, but that's something even simple that you can do at work, right? Where you just take a minute and do some box breathing. And oh, by the way, I like this because the SEALs actually train, the Navy SEALs actually train to do box breathing. So it's for everyone. Don't be afraid of meditation. Any last comments? All right, great job, Chelsie. Thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it. All right, Fillipe Silvas, another friend of mine who's going to help us figure out how to stay in movement from home. Those of you who were on at the beginning of the call heard me say I've been sitting on my backside way too much. I'm actually standing up at work today in my home office because I just couldn't stand it anymore. So I'm really excited to have Fillipe Silvas here, owner of Only the Greatest Fitness, or OTG. And he's got some insightful information on how to stay active at home, and maybe even tell us a little bit about the online program that you and Nicole have put together. Okay.
Sure.
All right. So name, company, and the chapter you're with.
Sure. So yeah, guys, my name is Fillipe. I'm with Only the Greatest Fitness. I hold the health and fitness chair for the BNI Referral Masters. At Only the Greatest, our goal is to help our clients feel great and lose weight without suffering through all the diets that they read about on the internet. And the quick little presentation I have for you guys today, it's pretty simple. 3 main points that we're going to go over is why exercise is important, especially during times like this, what to do exactly, and then how to make sure that we get it done. So my first point was a stress relief. Dr. Roxanne did touch on this, so I'm not going to say too much on that, but what goes right hand in hand with stress relief that a lot of people don't realize about exercise, and this is especially true for my personal journey, is the mental health side effects of exercise. We're all entrepreneurs here. We know what it's like to ride that roller coaster of ups and downs throughout our journeys. Exercise can be something that you can always fall back on to feel good about yourself. Like, I've suffered from depression. It's been off and on my entire life, but exercise is the one thing that I know I can do to make myself feel better. So you can get in there, release those happy endorphins, and actually feel good. And that's especially important in times like this because we're stressed out, we're worried, we don't know about our businesses. You may be fine, but your business just isn't going to grow like it was, whatever the case may be. Feeling good about yourself is super, super important in times like this, and exercise can and will do that for you. It'll get your confidence up. So when your confidence is high, so much more potential will come out of you. Like, your potential will be realized only when your confidence is high. I know I have this issue, and exercise helps me with it. When you set a goal to get something done and you actually do it and you check it off your list, your confidence immediately goes up. And then from there, everything else goes up right behind it. The last point I wanted to make here was you're probably sitting a lot more than usual right now. So the actual exercise aspect, like, you'll often hear me say, and like, I own a gym, and I say all the time that gyms are overrated. It is important to get in the gym and work out, but it's even more important just to move in general. But right now, you're probably stuck at home, sitting a lot more. So taking actual time blocks out of your day to exercise is extra important right now. You don't necessarily need a gym, but you need to make sure that you're moving more than normal. And how do we do that? So what exactly do we do when it comes to exercise? What's the best form? Do we do cardio? Do we lift weights? I don't have weights at home. What can I do? A lot of people are reaching out to me asking these questions. And also, guys, like, feel free to reach out to me anytime after this. Like, if you need direct help, I have a few exercise examples, but obviously I can't show you everything. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. My girlfriend actually does most of our online stuff, so I have plenty of time to to do stuff right now. So the most important thing that I'll say is to find a way to resistance train. So resistance training is just like it sounds. It's exercise where you're using resistance against your muscles. And that's the most effective way to work out. You can use your body weight, you can use bands. And what's nice about bands is you can hook them up to anything in your house. And even if you don't have that, you can use household items. I'll often, like, you can work out with cans, you can use your couch, you can use tables, and I'm gonna give you some examples here in a second. So number one, most important thing is find a way to do some resistance style training. It's like if you were in the gym, you would lift weights, but at home you might not have weights, so you're gonna use your body weight. You gotta get creative. So you can use household items. Being creative with exercise, one, it'll allow you to actually do it, and it'll keep you having fun. If you're bored with your workouts, you're not going to keep doing it. So you have to get creative and start having fun with it. The other way to exercise, as you probably know, is some type of cardio. And that can be as simple as walking around. If you have the ability to run, you can do intervals. If you can't run, totally fine. You can ride a bike, you can walk your dog and take extra long walks and things like that. So resistance training and cardio, both important. Make sure you get that resistance training in at minimum. I want to give you a couple examples of things you can do. I talked about getting creative with stuff that you can do at home with zero equipment. So I'm going to give you like an upper body workout, a lower body workout, and a core workout that you can do at home with zero equipment. Upper body, everybody knows what a push-up is, right? But I know a lot of people, as soon as I say push-up, you're like, but I can't do a push-up. I haven't been able to do a push-up in 10 years or whatever the case may be. Well, all you need to do to be able to do a push-up is find a way to leverage yourself. And the easiest way that I can tell you to do that is to put your hands against something that's high and solid. So like your countertop is a perfect example. If you're laying perfectly flat, you have this entire weight here that you're trying to lift and you do your push-up. But if I get my body positioned like this against my counter, I'm reducing the amount of weight that I'm having to push against. So that's a great way to do push-ups, is just right up against your counter. For a lower body exercise, something that you can do is just a body weight squat. Well, a lot of people are saying, I can't squat though. I'm totally with you. A lot of my clients that come here can't squat either. Don't worry. But what you can do is just set a chair up behind you. You can use your couch if you want to be extra comfy. But as soon as you sit down, stand back up. It's really that easy. Just sit down, stand back up. And those repetitions will get you that work that your lower body needs for some resistance training. Lastly, for a core workout, planks. Planks are pretty boring. Nobody likes to do it, but it's super important. If you can't hold a plank for 60 seconds, don't worry about going and doing sit-ups and crunches and things like that. You need to work on the stability side of things first. So practice your planks. Your goal could be to do a minute. Start at 20 seconds. Tomorrow you're doing 30 seconds. Next week you're doing 45. Next month you're doing a minute. So right now you're at home. It's a great time to practice those planks. So now that we know what to do, how exactly do we get it done? We talked about resistance training. We talked about cardio. In a time like this, what I'm going to recommend is a 20-20 rule. So the 20-20 rule says to do 20 minutes of resistance training followed by 20 minutes of cardio training. So that's 40 minutes of exercise. And what's nice about that time frame is I can do my 20 minutes of resistance training, I can do my 20 minutes of cardio, and then I still have 20 minutes left over to take a shower, get dressed, and you're back to work in less than an hour. I know a lot of us are working from home, but you can take 1 hour to exercise, take a shower, fix yourself up, and get back to work in less than an hour. So that 20-20 rule should work for most people right now. The other two things that I'm going to say is make sure that you fit them into your schedule. Please schedule this. If you were exercising before, whatever time you did before all this craziness happened, go back to that. Be as normal as possible with your routine, and you'll fit it into your schedule. The other thing to do is set reminders on your phone. Set a reminder on your phone for 30 minutes before you work out. Maybe you want to get some water. If you want to do an hour before you work out, to remind yourself to grab a little snack, and then in an hour you're going to work out. Whatever it takes. But if you set those reminders on your phone, now you have a to-do list to check off. I'm huge on that. So checking that to-do list off, after you do it, your confidence will be up and everything kind of comes together. So the most important thing though is just to don't overcommit to anything. Make sure that you can get it done and use those tips. I hope that it helps. And if you have any questions about exactly what to do, feel free to reach out. My girlfriend and I are both available 24 hours a day to help out with anything that you need. Trisha, you're on mute.
Yeah, thanks. It helps if I'm not on mute, right? Fillipe, thank you so much for sharing such great tips with us. For you guys who don't know Fillipe, he was actually, he and his girlfriend Nicole put together an online program before any of this stuff even started. So they were headed down that path, not out of desperation, but because they're creative and they knew that the world needed this. So if you're curious about that program, please reach out and ask Fillipe about that. And his gym is over off of NASA Road 1 at the corner of Highway 3 and NASA, if you're curious about that, when it's time to open the gym back up, right? That would be awesome. Okay, anybody come off mute and ask any questions for Fillipe?
Actually, I have a super quick testimonial about that stay-at-home workout program. It's phenomenal. It's really helping me push the limits on what I thought I could do. And him and Nicole have been just spot on with being responsive to the questions I've had. So Fillipe, thank you very much, man. It's awesome.
Not a problem. John's actually on our free version. So it just, if you're on a paid version, it's even much deeper of a service than that free version is. So yeah.
Yeah, it was cool you guys started that challenge group for people, right? Right when all this stuff started, Fillipe and Nicole put together a challenge group just to get people moving, right? Which I think is super important. And I love the idea of your 20/20, and you shouldn't skip the last 20 because I tell everyone, make sure you're getting up and taking a shower and going to work every day, no matter what that looks like, right? So that last 20 is really important too. Don't just roll out of bed and go to work, even if it's down the hallway. I don't care if you wear your pajamas to work, you still need to take a shower and get up and go to work, right? I mean, that's really important. Anybody else have a question for Fillipe? You guys are a quiet group.
That's
well,
okay.
You must have learned a lot of things today.
Nobody loves to work out. So.
Nobody loves to work out, but we need it, right? And you guys are the smartest ones on the planet for being here to listen to these experts today, because wow, who else has access to experts like this, right? And it's amazing that Dr. Roxanne and Chelsie and Fillipe came to talk to us today about what their expertise is. And by the way, between the three of them, they can cover everything, right? From nutrition to mind and body to your working out and staying healthy. And if you haven't had a one-to-one with them, you should. John.
Actually, Phil, a little bit more of a technical question. Some of you guys that know me, I'm a little bit more technical on certain things. Fillipe, with the push-ups, body squats, and planks, am I doing push-ups for 20 minutes day one, and day two, body squats for 20 minutes, planks for, trying to do planks for a minute at a time, 20 different times on day three, or how am I breaking that up?
I would definitely, like right now, it's a good time just to do like full body workout. So you want to do the entire thing each day. And then obviously you would also want to get more creative beyond, those are just a few examples.
Right.
So as you like you noticed in the challenge, there's a big variety. So the more variety.
Oh yeah. I'm using muscles I didn't even know I had, man.
So yeah, don't do anything that you're going to be bored with and hate doing next week.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, Phil.
Like that. Any other questions? Does anybody have questions for Dr. Roxanne or Chelsie or Fillipe?
I have one for Dr. Roxanne.
Go ahead, Tori.
Okay. During this time, I have been very stressed because my job, I'm a salesperson, but I'm usually on salary, but they have now moved me to commission only, and I've been very, very stressed about all of that and paying rent and everything. So I look like a teenager because my stress acne has flared. Do you have any recommendations on how to help that?
So are you talking about the acne?
Yes.
Okay. So one thing about the acne, when you're stressed out, we talked about your detoxification pathways are pretty much shunted. Your body could care less about you detoxing. You're stressed. That's not going to keep you out of danger. So what I tell a lot of my patients is, one, your eating needs to be good. I would at this time stay low of fried foods and dairy products and maybe even flour products. But the second thing, you can support your liver, because it's your liver that breaks down cortisol. It's your liver that gets rid of your toxins. And if your liver is overwhelmed with trying to detox your cortisol and some other stuff, you're accumulating all these toxins. And when you sweat, wherever you're sweating, that's where the toxins are going to come out of. So on your face, maybe on your back, all those things. So by trying to clean up your diet, exercising, and by taking something to support your detox pathways, a supplement to support your liver, that's how you're going to, mitigate that problem.
Okay, good question. Anybody else? All right. I have one last thing to say about all of this, besides thank you to our 3 amazing experts for being here. When you take care of your mind and you take care of your body, you can take better care of your business. And so we all need to stay healthy and take care of ourselves so that we can have healthy businesses. And let's, really look internal and figure out where that stress is coming from. And if you need help with your mind, your body, or your business, look back into BNI. There are so many people here that are ready to help you and willing to help you. Reach out to them. Reach out for a one-to-one. Reach out for whatever services they may be offering. A lot of people are doing free events right now. Join those things. Take advantage of that stuff, because there are so many people in our inner BNI circle, especially in BNI Houston East, that are ready and willing to help. So reach out to them. All right, that's all I got, you guys. Before everyone hangs up, does anybody have a topic that they have a burning desire to hear next week? All right, well, that's it. If you guys have something, send it to Mark, or you can send it to me. And, oh, Gretchen, did you have something? You're on mute. Who you pointing at? Stacy.
This isn't really a suggestion, I guess, for another session next week, but I just wanted to piggyback onto your comment about taking the shower and getting up and getting ready for the day, and it's okay to wear pajamas. That does things to your mind too. So I would really encourage you to get up, shower, get dressed like you would that you're going to work, because when we look good, we feel good, and we do better. We are better at our jobs, we're more focused, and it's, I have several articles on that subject. So another thing with the mind, like Chelsie was saying, the mind is powerful, and just a trigger of wearing work clothes to do your work is a different attitude on your day. So
yeah, absolutely. Get up, take a shower, put your makeup on for the ladies, put your jewelry on, right? And go to work.
Yeah, earrings are the new shoes.
Yeah. Philip?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that, this may or may not be helpful for everyone here, but something that you mentioned that we transitioned into online kind of training before all this happened. Something that I've heavily been researching and that may be very helpful, and that I'd still like to learn more about too, is transitioning your sales process from sitting in front of someone to doing it over the phone is very different. So I think that's something that may help a lot of people out, is what's the different sales techniques to be used when you're on the phone versus sitting in front of someone. It is very different.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. That's a great topic. I will be reaching out to some folks and see if we can man that up for next week. Amazing. Yes, Gretchen? I think you're on mute.
I got it now.
There you are.
So I just noticed that you're recording this. I've missed some others because it conflicted with my schedule. Are previous ones recorded that I can grab, and where can I get them?
Yes, ma'am. I have delivered all of those to Mark Taylor. I don't know where he's putting them, but I've been putting them up on our BNI page, and I am also putting them on YouTube channel. So if you would like a link to that, I am happy to share it. Okay, good. Perfect. I can do that. Anybody else? You guys are all awesome and amazing. Go off and do amazing things in your businesses and make sure you're taking care of yourself while you're at it. Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Take
Yeah.
care.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.